can't use they-them pronouns anymore.
You absolutely do not get to vote to eliminate us and then go out there and indulge in our culture.
You're hideous. I mean, that was the clearest giveaway that you're all so ugly.
Now, we're going to react to some particularly unhinged TikToks, in particular from some members of the LGBT community today who are not coping well. And hopefully, I'll be able to provide a little bit of sanity and calmness in response to some of the things they're saying and doing. Up first, this TikTok star thinks Republicans are inbred.
If I can't use they-them pronouns anymore, they shouldn't be allowed to kiss their cousins, you know? It's like, I don't want to go tit for tat, but is that fair?
No. It's actually not. First and foremost, babe, nobody is stopping you from using they, them pronouns. You can use any word you want. You can call yourself slug pronouns, like that one girl from TikTok.
Today's pronoun of the day is slugs.
The only thing that's changed is that the government is going to accurately list your biological sex and is not going to let you claim on documents that your sex is X or non-binary when it isn't. When you are biologically male, you can still call yourself. There's no police coming around to arrest people who say the wrong pronoun. That's not a thing. That's what some of y'all would do, but not us. That's not us. You can still call yourself non-binary, call yourself whatever pronouns you want in the book. You just can't put inaccurate information on your official identification and government paperwork. That's not a hate crime, babe. That's just common sense. And I'm sorry, but the people who support this or who voted for Trump are not just all inbred hicks. You are the one who comes off as incredibly out of touch. And the whispering is kind of creepy. Other than that, though, amazing video, I guess. Up next, this woke gay man thinks that gays are being eliminated? I'll let him speak for himself. Take a listen.
I better not see one more box blonde exponent teeth having ass bachelorette parties at any gay spaces from here on out. If you are not a queer person, unless you are specifically invited to that space by a queer person, you don't need to be there. You have no place there.
Actually, I'm pretty sure these places are open to all people, not just LGBT people, and that they want the business. You're saying you want gay bars and clubs and spaces to lose money and lose business in the name of your woke shit. That's actually dumb. But hey, maybe he can justify this. Interesting perspective, right?
Because you absolutely do not get to vote to eliminate us and then go out there and indulge in our culture and our spaces. No, you don't.
Babe, you need to touch grass. Nobody voted to eliminate anyone. That's not a thing. Being a chubby, sassy gay queen, still legal. You're just coming off as completely detached from reality and delusional and paranoid. It's actually sad. You've worked yourself up over something that is just not reality.
If it's cool for queer people to be refused service, healthcare, and employment based on sexual orientation, it's also just as cool for you to be refused entry to gay spaces based on sexual orientation.
Yeah, I mean, civil rights laws have not changed and are still in place. Not sure what he's popping off about, but it's not really based in fact.
What does that part of the Bible say that y'all don't read? Hold on. What is that? Oh, yeah. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Old Testament and that Jesus actually taught you're supposed to turn the other cheek, but okay. Regardless, why are you trying to lower yourself to the level you think the other side is at? If you think they're doing something evil and wrong, your response is to do the same thing back at them? Isn't that against what we know about like basic morality of two wrongs don't make a right? But hey, at least you got to sass those bad people.
I have kept it so cute and mute.
This was you keeping it cute and mute? I must have missed that part, babe.
But I will not stand by and let people in my own community be ripped to shreds without saying shit about it. And if this strikes a chord, and you go fiddle yourself, bitch.
Well, you just seem like a real delight and very in touch with reality. Look, I wish I could say this was just one video with 5 likes or just one fringe take. No, this video went viral. People are crashing out like this in the LGBT community, especially on TikTok. And look, there are, I'm sure, some real concerns or discussions or debates to be had about some of the Trump administration's LGBT, but mostly trans policies, but this is not a good look. This level of delusion, hysteria, and nastiness is not productive, is not helpful, and is not winning anyone over, convincing anyone, or making your side of the argument look good at all. So maybe you need to try a little harder to keep it cute and mute, because whatever that was, it wasn't that. Up next, this lovely individual has a message for Americans who voted for Trump.
We can all tell you voted for Trump. We know. You don't have to keep trying to hide. I mean, first of all, the giveaway is you're hideous. I mean, that was the clearest giveaway, that you're all so ugly.
There are good looking and ugly people who vote in either direction. Also, with that hair and that nose ring and all that going on, I would not be throwing stones, love. That's all I'll say.
Second giveaway, you don't wash your cars. You have salt from the roads all over your vehicle, because just like you don't wash your own body, you don't wash your vehicle.
Okay, that one has me gagged. I'll be honest, I don't do a good job of washing my car in the winter. I do wash my body though, and so do most people, regardless of whether they vote Democrat or Republican. Like, this rant is just weird.
The moment you walk into a room, it is a green odor, clouds, eclipses, all the bodies drop to the floor dead from the smell. If you're having a hard time differentiating ugliness, unwashed legs, the concealer that's 3 shades too light under the eyes, crusting foundation, caked on eyeliner, white women with ashy knees, male pattern baldness being covered up with unit, but the glue is just too thick, so it kind of sits a little bit higher on the head than it should. The turquoise jewelry, chunky highlight, you know the vibe.
I don't, in fact, know the vibe, but I do know that your vibes aren't great and don't give the most stable or balanced energy. To say the very least. Okay, I think I'll leave it there for LGBT TikTok, because I'm giving myself brain damage with all that delulu, but do let me know what you think. Which one was your favorite, and hit that like button while you're at it. Now, we're going to run through some of the most unhinged posts and tweets from the internet this week, and again, brace yourself to lose some brain cells with me. Up first, someone writes, if a straight man is traumatized to learn that a person who performed oral sex on him is a trans woman, that trauma probably comes from false messaging from society telling him he did a gay thing. False messaging? And couldn't he be traumatized from having been lied to and tricked into a sexual act? Like, I thought woke people, or really just everyone, was supposed to agree that that's bad. Let's stop sending men the false message that it's gay to be with trans women. Yeah, I mean, it is a little, though. It's not the gayest thing. Like, most gay men are not interested, I can tell you this personally, in trans women because they appear very feminine in many ways, and many of their secondary sex characteristics appear like female sex characteristics, which is obviously not what most gay men are interested in. But obviously, in many cases, the parts and the biology remain male. So that's not 100% heterosexual either. It's not giving super straight. It's maybe a little somewhere on the bi spectrum or something, and that's okay. But when you try to tell people that getting with somebody with male parts is straight as a man, we are going to look at you like you're kind of crazy. Up next, somebody tweeted, the woke mind virus is literally just empathy. That's it. It's empathy. We must have lived through very different decades over the last 10 years, because I remember woke internet mobs destroying people's lives and ruining their careers over ancient posts that no one noticed at the time that say something that aged poorly or was offensive to someone. I remember bullying and shaming people because of their privilege or characteristics they can't help, and trying to sort people into who should be listened to on certain things based on their characteristics. None of that gives empathy, babe. It actually gives narcissism, bullying, control freak. It does not give empathy. Up next, there's a post that says, Meta Zuckerberg says most companies need more masculine energy and have been neutered by feminine energy. To which someone says, it's so panic-inducing just how fascist and far-right society is becoming again. Bro, I don't even know if that Mark Zuckerberg statement is true, if tech companies have become more feminine or masculine, or what that even means these days, but it is not fascist, okay? Some of y'all need to remember that words have meanings, and the dictionary is not, in fact, a choose-your-own-adventure book. And when you guys cry wolf all the time and call everything fascist, Nazi, extreme, racist, sexist, homophobic, blah, 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 just throw these terms around like candy on Halloween, as so many people on the left have done for years now, whether they realize it or not, they dilute the meaning of those words and the impact of their warnings, unfortunately meaning that when they're actually appropriate and needed to isolate or call out somebody who's truly, truly toxic, people don't listen these days. And to some extent, that's y'all's own fault. Up next, Bill Kristol, who used to be a Republican but has turned into kind of a Democrat talking head, posted a post from the White House, the new Trump-run account, that says, President Trump delivers more in 100 hours than any president in 100 days, with an American flag and an image of Trump that says the golden age of America. Bill Kristol shared it and said, welcome to North Korea. Newsflash, Bill, if this was North Korea, you wouldn't be posting that online. You wouldn't be questioning your leader and besmirching his good name for the whole world to see, because in North Korea, you'd get disappeared. And sure, has Trump really done more in 100 hours than any other president in 100 days? Probably not. I don't know. You'd have to check the historical books and run some sort of scrutiny or examination to really know that. But it's the White House account. Of course, they're gassing themselves up and tooting their own horn and putting out like self-congratulatory messaging. That's what accounts do when the government is in charge. That's what comms people do. This is very normal. Biden's White House all the time would say somewhat delusional statements about how great they're doing. That's normal politics, not North Korea. And again, y'all have just lost the plot. In another post, journalist named John Harwood shared news that the federal government is closing DEI offices in federal agencies and wrote, when does he bring back segregated water fountains? Y'all, some of them really learned nothing. Some of them have not learned the lesson of the first Trump term, was that the constant hysteria, alarmism, and hyperbole doesn't work. It just leaves people numb to it, and they stop listening to you, and they tune you out. And then Trump can get away with more, not less. And ending DEI is not the same thing as bringing back segregation. In fact, in some ways, the weird woke excesses of identity politics we've seen under the DEI regime are low-key segregationist. You see like self-segregation into affinity groups or different spaces. Heck, my college had separate graduation ceremonies for LGBTQ students and Black students, and all of that is viewed as progressive under DEI. Of course, it's not the same as like old school segregation that was forced and mandatory under law. This is voluntary and done in the name of tolerance or whatever, but it's still low-key bad. And rolling it back is ironically less segregationist. But keep up with the hysterical tweets, John. You're doing amazing, sweetie. This next post is my personal favorite genre of woke tweet. It reads, lesbians can be attracted to men. Lesbians can kiss men. Lesbians can have sex with men. Lesbians can date men. Lesbians can date multiple men. Lesbians can have sex with multiple men. Lesbians can cuddle men. Lesbians can do whatever they want with men consensually. Glad you clarified there at the end. The community note here is just a link to the dictionary. It notes, lesbians are not attracted to men. That's the thing. Words have meanings, and you can't just make shit up and say whatever you want. And it's certainly not progressive or woke in any meaningful sense of those words to erase lesbians and claim that the very thing that makes them a lesbian is actually not required to be a lesbian. If a lesbian can be attracted to a man and could marry a man, the word lesbian doesn't mean anything and has no value. Congrats. You're doing amazing progress over here. Up next, we've got terrible financial advice from Twitter. One dude writes, why is everyone so scared of debt? There's no real consequences. You can just take the free money. Worst that happens is some little number goes down. Who effing cares? Oh, my credit score. Can't imagine letting a fake number run my life personally. Take all the debt you can. Y'all, don't take financial advice from randos on social media. Exhibit 1 million. It can actually really hurt you to have debt. You can have your wages garnished, your car repossessed, your home foreclosed upon or seized. You'll never be able to get a mortgage or a loan if you need one in the future. Like, debt can destroy people's lives. And so saying insane stuff like this, if even one person believes it, could really harm someone. Like, that's not funny and not cool. Up next, the Trump hysterics take an interesting twist. One person wrote about the news that the Trump administration is planning a large-scale immigration raid in Chicago. The Black Americans celebrating this have no idea that we're next. You are not, in fact, next. The government can't deport U.S. citizens, and Black Americans are U.S. citizens, nor has Trump ever said he wanted to do any such thing or indicated in any way that he would. Trump has broken some people's brains, and it's getting tough to watch. Another person has another apocalyptic warning about the GOP. He writes, in response to news that Trump is going to seek to give the education department back to the states, if he goes through with this, then red states will become unlivable for the foreseeable future. Yeah, no. In fact, 2 out of the 3 top states for education in America are Florida and Utah, the other being Massachusetts, which is obviously a blue state. Some red states might do poorly if the education department is scrapped and it's just all handled at the state level, but some will do well, and people will flock to the states that do better. That's kind of the point of having a 50-state system. You can have what they called laboratories of democracy, where different things and policies get tried and some work and some don't, and people can kind of move to the places that are doing a better job, and then those other places that are losing people will adopt those policies, and better ideas will win out over time. But if you have one-size-fits-all approach forced onto a big and diverse country by a federal bureaucracy, that's going to stifle progress. And that's why people want to get rid of the education department. You might disagree and we can have that conversation, but it's not some apocalyptic idea. The department didn't even exist until like 1980. Oh boy. Well, this has been quite the episode, and we've dealt with our fair share of Delulu today. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to today's sponsor, Home Title Lock. Do make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to do a debrief episode on my wild debate on Tim Pool's show that got unfortunately really hostile for no reason. I'll do that in a special episode, potentially tomorrow or Monday. But make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button if you haven't yet, blah, 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 and we'll talk again real soon. Thanks, guys.